morning, Joe.
How are you this morning?
Doing fine, thank you.
A wet one, but I think we're having some sunshine later today.
Yeah, well, the sun is actually breaking out as we speak.
Oh, I can break into song.
We'll take it.
Getting the city prepared for winter, I am sure, by now.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. As you know, we have a good team down there. Commissioner Grazioso and Superintendent Prendeville and General Foreman Leary and the entire team. They're well on this. Preparations begin actually in the summertime. So, especially we're more cognizant because of the supply chain issues in parts and things. You can't wait like you used to. So, got to be on top of the game, and we're prepared. Hopefully, it'll be a light winter, but we are prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws at us.
Yeah. I know that a couple of weeks ago you put out the call looking for donations of trees to use for Christmas displays. How's that going?
Yeah, we're getting some calls on that. I mean, I know there's times when people thinking about removing a tree because it's become too big, too close to the house, and that kind of thing. So we're not looking to take down specimen trees, but people that would normally take a tree down, if it could be used for the holiday festival activities, then it's kind of a nice hit. So I know we've got a number of calls at the Park Department office, and they are looking at them. We generally look at something that's in that 30 to 40 foot range, because you lose 6 or 8 feet right off because of the it's got about 6 feet, I guess, goes into the ground to steady the tree before you put the guy wires. So people have been reaching out, and we want to make sure we get good-looking trees. We're not just going to take anything. It has to look good so we can decorate it. But it always creates some buzz in the community in addition to providing trees, but in anticipation of the holiday activities, the lighting of the trees, obviously, and then the parade and so forth.
Sure. And well, a couple of reasons, right? First of all, because you get to say, hey, that's my tree there, adorning City Hall or a neighborhood. But second of all, it can be quite costly to have a tree removed, too.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
We both win. So we'll see what we come up with.
Speaking of the parade, I know the theme has already been selected, Christmas Through the Decades, by a public school teacher this year.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
I know that's the theme every year is Christmas related, as it should be. So it gets hard to come up with something new each year, but that's certainly a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has been around for decades, so good.
69th year this year, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow.
Mayor, can we talk a little bit about the appropriation request for an additional $23 million for the public safety headquarters? It was discussed at the city council meeting last night, not voted on yet. Some questions raised, obviously. Anytime you spend that kind of money, I'm sure a lot of questions that are raised. But maybe you could explain a little bit about what the request is for.
Yeah, certainly, and we certainly will provide every answer to every question. And this is an ask of the council. They, as you know, the process works. The mayor submits the appropriation, the council reviews and recommends or cuts or rejects. That's how our charter works. And I don't think you have to be an expert or an economist to understand what's going on right now. It's happening all across the region, for that matter, across the country, and that is the cost of everything has just soared. And I know that the president says we're not in a recession, but boy, oh boy, we've got some challenging times with the cost of things. I know with people buying food, buying gasoline, buying fuel for their homes. But if you're out there doing any renovations to your house, you're also aware that the cost of materials is way up if you can get them. So this is having an effect on projects all across Massachusetts. I know a number of school projects are going back in for millions more just to meet the spec. This was something we had all the experts looking at, our outside estimators, Suffolk Construction, but it's unique times. And this is, this is something the bond is paid over 30 years, so it's spread out over time. And we are replacing one terrible facility that does not serve the city well at all in the existing police station. So this will be a state-of-the-art 50 to 100-year building. I certainly don't want to cut corners, and some administration down there are 15 to 20 years out having to replace a roof. So it is a quality project. It is calling for excellent materials so that the building is around for a long, long time. So it's just a reflection of the marketplace that we're in right now. There's some things we just can't control.
There was a suggestion or a comment made that maybe some of the city's COVID relief funds could have been used to cover this overage. Do you think that would have been appropriate?
I don't know that under the federal guidance that would have been allowed, Joe.
Okay.
I mean, the rules continuously change. I know some of the stuff we did early on was permissible, but you wouldn't be able to do some of those things now because the rules have changed again. So that's easy to say. I don't think so. But we looked at all options, and this doesn't seem to be an avenue other than what we're doing. I know we looked extensively, reviewed the project, engineers looked at things. The old adage of value engineering, which means cutting costs, and that was done. I know there was some minor things changed, but overall, the building is going to be a well-built building, and we did not want to have an adverse effect on the quality of the building. So onward and upward.
What does this do to the timeline now for the project?
This doesn't really affect the timeline. We're just early in the project. We're still doing site work. I believe the old animal shelter's been taken out. Father Bills is working very hard across the street, getting their facility prepared, so that move will be happening a few months down the road, at which point then we can get real serious on the site work and begin foundation work. So it's not, I don't think it's slowing things down too dramatically yet, but if another 4, 6, or 8 weeks goes by, then it could have an effect.
Okay. What is the current completion goal, I guess, for the new police station?
I think we're talking about summer of 24, Joe.
Okay. So speaking of Father Bills, I believe they're having a topping off ceremony tomorrow on their Yawkey Housing Resource Center, so that's coming along.
It is coming along. We're looking forward to that to be completed for all the right reasons, but also to really get out of the way of the project.
Right. A report came out, as you're well aware, Mayor, about the theft of the pension fund, $3.5 million, and it was, I actually read it, all 48 pages of it. Yeah, and
You're sick.
It was not a very elaborate scheme, if you will. Basically, they hacked into an open email account, right?
That's correct. That's what's a little disturbing about it. Somebody had left from the retirement board. The retirement board office did not notify the IT office about shutting it down. The IT office wouldn't do that necessarily without authorization because it's still an open account. There's emails coming in, so you don't want to lose everything at the same time. But it's called a phishing scheme. It's also today's terms used the term of executive fraud, and a number of things broke down. And quite frankly, the companies we hire are supposed to protect us from this. And I know there's a little bit of blame to go around, but I think the large portion of the blame should go to the companies that we hire to maintain our systems, to do our transactions. There should have been a number of red flags that had gone up in that process before they allowed something like that to happen. So I really put it on the feet of the companies that are engaged with the retirement board.
Have safeguards been put in place to prevent a future?
Oh, absolutely.
problem?
All the changes have been made systemically. Now the question is, what can we get in return, either from those companies or those companies' insurance coverage, to put some of this money back in the system?
Right, because as I understand, the money's not been recovered, and there've been no arrests, no charges. It's seemingly vanished.
Yeah, I mean this happens every day in every organization across the world.
Yeah.
I mean, if crime comes in many forms, and just because technology gets better and better, the criminals get better and better and use the technology as well. So this happens all the time around the world. It's not acceptable, of course, but
Right.
We had an attempt on the city side, but firewalls and the systems we had in place protected us big time. So it's crazy times in some regards. So we're changes have been made. Certainly the companies have been made notice that their behavior has to change, and those red flags should have been picked up on by their personnel. This never should have been authorized. It's as simple as that, Joe.
Sure. Just looking over the City Council agenda from last night, I wonder if you might explain the Quarry Hills lease extension home rule petition order, Mayor?
Yeah, sure. So originally the Quarry Hill lease was draft was 99 years. It was changed to 49 years. They want to do some major improvements up there. They being the lessee, and in order to do that and get financing, you need to have certainly a lease in place. You need to have control of the property to do that. So the Quarry Hills is a terrific project for the city of Quincy. It's obviously a magnificent golf facility. We have fields associated with it, baseball fields, soccer fields that are in part maintained. They were constructed by Quarry Hills, in part maintained by Quarry Hills. We receive revenue each and every year. Percentage of the gross of the golf comes back to the city. So what was a landfill that cost the city about $200,000 to maintain the leachate systems has become a beautiful, magnificent recreational facility that brings revenue into the city. So I think it's a no-brainer. So the goal is to give them a new lease, which would then allow them to spend a lot of capital on the facilities, which then would add to the revenue coming back to the city and the experience at the location. So it's a win-win. It's not a site that you could build on. As you know, Joe, there might be one or two little spots up there you can build something on, but it's a landfill. So it's the best use you could possibly have over a landfill. And as you know, it's the vast majority of the course. I think 19 holes are in Quincy and 8 holes are in Milton, the 27-hole course. And then the fields are all in Quincy. But so we'll go through the process with City Council. We'll certainly answer any questions they may have. But certainly, I tip my hat to Jim Sheets and Walter Hannon and the O'Connells for even the idea of this. It goes back a long time. Again, took a facility that was not very pretty, costed the city money, and created this magnificent recreational facility.
As I recall, it was a lot of the dirt from the Big Dig that capped that landfill.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what made it work. The closest from the Big Dig was the off-ramp right here they built. They were looking at other locations to truck the dirt. It would have been tens of millions more to go in other locations because of the distance, pure distance from the actual site of the Big Dig. So it worked out very, very well for everybody. Saved the state money in the Big Dig. Obviously, it created something that we're very proud of in Quincy, and again, we share in the revenue of.
It would be a 99-year lease. How much would the lease be for, Mayor?
It's similar to what we have today, which we get 10% of the gross revenue of the golf.
I see.
And then we get 10% of the net of the restaurants and the other parts of the facility. And they would continue to be committed to maintaining to the ball fields, the 4 Little League fields, and then the large soccer fields they're required to maintain as well. And then we get, again, that revenue comes in special accounts when we were able to use it for public works projects.
Very good. Anything else we should let folks know about right now, Mayor?
I'm not sure. I didn't see the meeting last night, but I know our Commissioner of Natural Resources also presented to the council.
Yes, that's right.
An update on all the facility improvements and work being done by our Park, Forestry, and Cemetery divisions of the Department of Natural Resources. So I assume Mr. Murphy covered it well, because he's good at that.
He did, indeed. And to see it all spelled out, you realize how much is going on, from cemeteries to pond restorations to park improvements. It's quite a bit.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Good to talk to you, Mayor. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Joe. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.